The young man had come to deliver some goods in the palace when Princess Habibah saw him, and from a distance, she immediately recognized the face as the one she had always seen in her dreams, the one who had told her to stay with him and that he would not let her die. Welcome to Iyagba's Epic Tales. The title of today's story is Princess Habibah and the Evil Man MUSTAPHA, Part 2. Did you miss the first part? Then click at the top of your screen on this video or the link in the description box to watch. King Hamzah was heartbroken when the news about his daughter's capture reached him. He blamed the palace security guards for not being vigilant enough. But deep down in his heart, he knew his daughter was captured as a result of her own stubbornness. He dressed in his war suit and was ready to go rescue his daughter. But because of his age, his men asked him to stay back and assured him that they would bring Princess Habibah back to him. King Hamzah made a proclamation to give Princess Habibah as a wife to anyone who would find the princess and bring her home safely. Meanwhile, Princess Habibah was blindfolded and being taken away by the people who have captured her back to their kingdom. Suddenly, she heard some noise of people fighting. She didn't know what to make of it. Was it her own people who had come for her, or was it someone else? She reasoned. But while in her thoughts, she was hit hard on the head and she fell unconscious. Moments later, her blindfold was taken off and she could see a man staring at her, but her vision was faint, so she did not recognize the face. She heard the man calling on her to stay with him and not close her eyes. She also heard him saying that he would not let her die. Princess Habibah tried to do as the stranger told her, but her head was too heavy as a result of the head injury, and she could not keep her eyes open. So, she fell unconscious again. Days later, Princess Habibah opened her eyes and saw herself in a strange room. She wondered where she was. Then, a hard-looking man entered the room. He smiled at her and introduced himself as MUSTAPHA. He told her that he was the one that had rescued her from her captors. Princess Habibah tried to reintroduce herself also, but he asked her not to stress herself as he already knew who she was. He promised to take her back to her kingdom and to her father the next day. So, this is the man that told me to stay with him while I was unconscious, Princess Habibah reasoned. She thanked MUSTAPHA for rescuing her from her captors and saving her life. MUSTAPHA did as he promised and took Princess Habibah back to her kingdom the next day. King Hamzah was grateful to MUSTAPHA and asked how he could repay him. MUSTAPHA told him that he is aware of the promise to give Princess Habibah as a bride to whosoever that would rescue her, and that is exactly what he wants. MUSTAPHA wasn't just an ordinary man, he was also royalty. MUSTAPHA is the younger brother to one of the king who pays tribute to King Hamzah from the Four Kingdoms. Mustapha wasn't a good man. He had never liked King Hamzah. He envied King Hamzah's position and status amongst the kingdoms, and since then he had sought for ways he would attain King Hamzah's position for himself. Mustapha considered his own older brother weak for paying tribute to King Hamzah. He would secretly boast to his friends that if he was the one who was on the throne, he would have been able to defeat the foreign invaders and wouldn't have sought help from King Hamzah. Mustapha is the reason why the gifts sent to King Hamzah from his own kingdom was always the least, as he would reduce the items and keep them for himself. And of course, his brother never got to find out, since King Hamzah never bothered about the amount of goods sent to him. For a long time, he tried to find ways to attain King Hamzah's position, and so when he found Princess Habibah unconscious, he grabbed the opportunity. When Mustapha told King Hamzah that he wanted his daughter for a wife, King Hamzah did not hesitate. He knew Mustapha to be royalty and the younger brother to one of the kings he considered his friend. King Hamzah declared that his daughter would be married to Mustapha and they would rule after him. Princess Habibah was grateful to Mustapha for saving her life. However, she did not wish to marry him. There was an air about him that made her uncomfortable. His face was hard and his smile witty. "Father, I do not wish to marry him. Please do not make me to," Princess Habibah pleaded with her father. But King Hamzah told her that he had made the decree and cannot go back on his word. Princess Habibah kept having dreams of what had happened at the battlefield whenever she slept, from the fight to her being captured and then getting saved. There was something which bothered her whenever she had those dreams. It was the fact that the face of the person who had saved her in her dreams was not the face of Mustapha. Princess Habibah could remember that the voice that had told her to stay with him was gentle and soft-spoken, but Mustapha has a deep baritone voice. She had thought of it, but discarded the thought since she was unconscious then. But now, her dreams made her to have a rethink. She spoke to Laraba, her closest friend and personal maid, about it. And Laraba told her that it was all in her head and that she couldn't have recognized the voice when she was almost unconscious at the time. In order to get the dream and the thoughts out of her head, Princess Habibah resumed her fighting trainings. This time around, she trained so hard, especially as she remembered how she was defeated during the battle. She also took Laraba's advice and was going to discard the thoughts and focus on her soon-to-be marriage when she stumbled upon a strange young man one day. The young man had come to deliver some goods in the palace when Princess Habibah saw him, and from a distance, she immediately recognized the face as the one she had always seen in her dreams, the one who had told her to stay with him and that he would not let her die. Princess Habibah moved closer to where the man was, and when he spoke, she recognized the voice as the same voice as the one she heard in her dreams. Princess Habibah stared at the young man for some time. The young man also kept staring at her from time to time, as he went about his business. Princess Habibah ran inside, and from that moment, she knew that her dream was not to be discarded. Look out for our next video for the concluding parts. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and drop a comment.
Thank you for watching. See you in our next video. Bye.